Hello everyone and welcome back to Football Manager 2023, the first episode of a brand new series in the new game through the beta. As always, I am going to start off with Newcastle United. They're the team that I support and the one I always choose when the new game comes out. I don't think last year that I actually did a Newcastle series, so it's been a little while since the last one, but we'll do some of this series until the in-game editor comes out and then we can get back into the experiments as well. But I might keep this series going for a little while as well. But it's nice to be back doing some YouTube videos. So let's have a look at what we're dealing with here. Obviously Newcastle in a very different position as a club to the last time I did a series under Mike Ashley. So we've now got a very different situation at play. Obviously we've got Kieran Trippier in the club, which is always good. And if we look at the club vision, instead of avoiding relegation, which was usually what was put up under the Mike Ashley era, we're now actually looking to qualify for the UEFA Europa League. That feels a little bit ambitious to me, but obviously we do have a much stronger squad these days. And even more importantly, we actually have a transfer budget. So you'll see I'm a little bit further forward here. We're not too far into the season, but we are just about to start our first Premier League game, and yet we've still got nearly 20 million in the bank and nearly $500,000 a week in wage budget. So I might bump up the transfer budget a little bit later if I need a bit more cash. You know, I like to do spreading the transfers over 3-4 seasons rather than all at once, bankrolling my immediate success at the cost of the long-term financial health of the club. But we have already done a couple of transfers into the team above the ones that were already done. So obviously we already brought in Nick Pope, Matt Targett, Sven Botman, Alexander Isak. They've all joined, as well as a few youngsters as well. But then on top of that, I've added Matteo Gabbia, a good Italian centre-back. He's always been in and around wonderkid status. A few games for Milan, a little successful loan spell with Lucchese. But 12.5 million I thought was a bit of a steal for a good centre-back to add into the rotation. And then we've also signed Boubakary Soumaré. He's come in, the young French central midfielder. He's one of the better midfielders, and I think alongside Joe Linton and Bruno, he'll do a pretty good job as that box-to-box or central midfielder. And you can see he's obviously just come from Leicester. Leicester have made a tidy profit out of us, but he was a really good player at Lille. I think he was involved when Lille won the title a few years ago. So he's a really good young player. And this series, I will obviously be playing around a bit. We'll try and sign some high-profile players when we can. But at the moment, we're not quite far enough up the world reputation rankings and able to bring these players in. So the big ones at the moment, I'm obviously looking at Szoboszlai, one of the wonder kids for many years now, but Theo Hernandez, also a really big player if we can pull him in. But I'm going to still look for younger players, people that we can return an investment on, but I'm also going to have a bit of fun. If a chance comes up to sign Mbappe for Newcastle, we're probably going to sign Mbappe. And obviously there have been a few transfers out as well. I've let a few players leave. Matt Ritchie's gone on loan to West Brom. That can be made permanent. Paul Dummett's gone to Brighton for 5.5 million as well. I'm not actively looking to kick too many players out of the club, but the squad was quite large still. So a few of them have been moved into the reserves for now. They might come back. A couple of goalkeepers. I'm sticking with Nick Pope and Carl Darlow. Helps that they're both English. And that means that Karius has been dropped into the under-23s and put on the transfer list. But otherwise, I think the Newcastle squad at the moment is pretty strong, so I don't want to mess with it too much. I'd rather keep a little bit of cash back so that maybe at the end of the transfer window, if we're not having the best start to the league season, we could bring a couple more players in. But with Alexander Isak up front, Alan Saint-Maximin in there as well, and then that central midfield now so strong. And I think Soumaré is an excellent addition in there with Bruno and with Joe Linton as well. So I'm pretty happy. Defence is maybe where I'd look at. Obviously, we brought Gabbia in, but he's a bit of a prospect for the future. So maybe another centre-back, maybe a left-back if Matt Targett doesn't convince me. And obviously at right-back, we're fine. So I'm pretty happy with it. I think if we see a bargain or an improvement somewhere, we will do that. We will bring those people in. But let's show you the tactic that I'm going to go with. It's a GYR 433 Dynamite for FM23. Anybody that's watched the channel for a while will know that I am famously terrible when it comes to building tactics. So I like to just find the best ones that give me the best chance of doing quite well. And this is actually my favourite formation in Football Manager. I love a 4-1-2-3 or a 4-3-3, depending on how you look at it. And so we will be using this. This is probably one of our strongest teams out there at the moment, other than that maybe Sumare might come in for Willock. But I'm going to start with Willock for the first game today, and then probably our strongest defence. Question over Lascelles or Burn in there, but Burn is injured at the moment, so Lascelles gets the nod, and Isaac, of course, up front. You can see in possession we are looking to play out defence, pass into the space, run at the defence, be expressive, high tempo, and it's all about that sort of gegenpressing style football, and then high press. So very modern football style. And we're starting off the season by playing Southampton today. So if we jump straight into our first game of the season, we need to give Sumari a number. He could take 16. I've already allocated all the numbers out, so that's probably the best number available. But it looks like there's a bit of happiness in the team, although confusion for a few players who don't agree with the team sheet. But that's, I think, you win the game, they come around, don't they? That's usually how it works. And for Southampton, I mean, it's a decent team, but it's not a worryingly strong team. I feel like Southampton have really let the squad sort of fall away a little bit recently. Now let's have a look at our speed and settings here. I did update these before starting everything off, but we're going to have to quickly just fix this to how I like it. Get down to key highlights as well, and then bump up the speed a little bit, shall we? Because otherwise it feels like they're playing in sludge. We'll keep replays on, but just for the goals. I don't like to see everything. And here we go. We are kicked off then. So 7 minutes on the clock, and Botman's given away the ball on his debut. Adams is free in the middle, but he took the shot on a little bit too early there, and he's missed the target, which is quite embarrassing, really. But I think that's a reality of the Southampton team. Even when we make a mistake, we're likely to see Southampton struggle to capitalise on it. And Trippier here with a corner into Lascelles, and he makes absolute sure of that with the header, making his claim to remain as a first 11 player at the club. You can see Trippier swinging it in. It's a near post corner, and he just pulled away from the defender to get it in there. But that's a deserved goal, I think. Other than the Botman mistake, we're clearly on top and really putting Southampton under pressure. Target into Saint-Maximin. Now Joe Linton could have an effort, and he does, and it's just wide. Joe Linton, of course, signed as a striker for 40 million, but now a reinvented central midfielder or defensive midfielder. And he's going for it again, Joe Linton, and he's put it over again. Maybe need to encourage him to not take the shot on and make the extra pass as the ball goes forward. Aribo has it. He's tackled, and now Isaac through to Almiron. He's got players up there with him. He goes to Saint-Maximin, target on the overlap into Isaac, and Isaac finds the finish past Bazunu in goal for Southampton, and it's now 2-0, 23 minutes in, and the Giancaldo reign is getting off to a flying start at this point. Saint-Maximin's beautiful little ball to target on the overlap, and Isaac just beat the offside trap in behind all four of those players on the line to get the finish. So debut goal for Isaac, and a debut, since making his transfer permanent, a debut assist for Matt Target as well. Now Bazunu sending this one forward. Comes down to Aribo, who's trying to attack down the left, but he is surrounded, and Joe Linton doing the job he always does there. Trippier trying to burst through the centre, goes to Saint-Maximin. Now Isaac. Saint-Maximin making the run. He's got Willock, Almiron and Isaac in there, but he's lost the ball to Walker Peters, who sends it forward. Willock out wide to Almiron. Now Isaac back through to Almiron. He can whip it across. He pulls it back. And it's just cleared away again. But Southampton give the ball away again to Willock. And there is Alexander Isak. Looked like the defender and the goalkeeper just completely stopped playing then. And Isak was able to touch it in. And it's now 3-0. And we do not look too threatened. We've given the ball away a few times. But Willock here did well. And Isak there just had to toe poke it between Salazu and Bazunu. Maybe shouldn't have been able to score there, but we are now 3-0 up and looking extremely dangerous as we go in at half time. So maybe those players at the start who were not convinced at the first 11 today are maybe a little bit more convinced at this stage, because we are really hammering this Southampton team, and you can see it's deserved. 15 shots, 8 on target, over 60% possession, and 2 expected goals, with 3 delivered so far. And Trippier now with a free kick, puts it in, comes back towards Joe Linton, out to Trippier to try again, and he's gone for a run this time to the byline, into Almiron, across, and Matt Targett there nearly scoring. Might be time to get Trippier off, I think, although we haven't got another right back on the bench, so let's hold that for now. Trippier can keep going. He's got the free kick here. He is our dead ball specialist, and it's in from Lascelles, who's got a brace now with that header. Both goals headers, Trippier assisting in both times. So that right side of defence, those two players there, doing the great job of getting the points for any fantasy Premier League fans out there in defence, while also adding to that clean sheet with goals and assists on top of that. If you doubled up on them, you'd be very happy. Joe Linton, beautiful little run there to get away from 2-3 of them. Almiron through, but not his best ball. And now Southampton on the counter with Elyounoussi in behind. That's a very nice run and an equally good finish there. I think it is time to make a change. I might need to go into the full tactical screen. Let's just view that Elyounoussi goal as well, because look at that little chip up he did, and then a second touch and a third one past Pope to ruin the clean sheet for Newcastle. But 4-1, I'm pretty happy with this. Let's have a look at what we can do in the tactical area. Trippier, who have we got available that can pull in at right back? Probably Fabian Schär, it looks like. And I think Joe Linton could maybe do the rest and give Soumare his debut off the bench. I might also take Botman off at a certain point and give Gabbia his debut as well. But it looks like Southampton might have had a little bit of energy here, because they're on the attack again. This time Elyounoussi can't be quite as clinical with his finish, and it has gone wide. Let's see if we can take Botman off and bring on Gabbia, regardless of what happens here. Mara in toward Prowse. Ball over to the far side for Walker-Peters. And it's played in for Elyounoussi, and he's got a double here. I think we may be getting a little bit lax. I would have expected us to see out a clean sheet 4-0 up. And instead, it's now just a 2-goal advantage. If they get one more, we're in for a very nervy last 10 minutes. Elyounoussi there with the finish past Pope. And it is 4-2. Gabbia is coming on now, which might help with some fresh legs back there. But I'm not overly convinced by the way the team have performed here. Gabbia with the ball, over to Lascelles. He's on a hat-trick, don't forget. Almiron there, back to Willock. Fabian Schär to Lascelles. I'm a bit nervous about Schär on the ball because he's not playing in his usual position. Lascelles there tries to dink it over the top, and Walker-Peters will keep that in, but give it straight to Willock. Almiron, back to Bruno. What a hit from Bruno there. Right into the top corner for 5-2. Excellent goal. A debut goal for him, I think. Did he join us in January or a summer signing? I can't remember. I think it was January, actually. But Bruno there, beautiful. Outside of the foot finish there. One touch and then whipped it with the outside of his right foot to find the top corner. 5-2 to Newcastle. And that will guarantee an excellent start to the season, despite the 2 goals conceded. Bruno in from the free kick, lots of bodies in there, we're not easing off, and Soumare straight at Bazunu. That would have really capped it off if he'd come off the bench, but that is full time. 5 goals, major positive, 2 conceded, a little bit disappointing, but I do think defence is where we would need to improve realistically, whether it's Matt Targett maybe being upgraded at a certain point, or just bringing in another excellent centre-back to join Botman. They're the areas that I'd probably look at the most. Otherwise, pretty happy with that. And if we look at the table in the Premier League, we've gone straight to the top of the Premier League. Not everybody has played yet, so Man City could still come along and ruin that for us. But you can see Chelsea, Liverpool, both having lost so far. It's not bad going for us. So we are now way out in front. And for any of you that are wondering how I got the logos in here, if you've got logos from your previous versions of FM, because I know it's difficult to get hold of them these days, all you need to do is move your graphics folder from your Football Manager 22 into your Football Manager 23 file. You'll find it in Documents, Sports Interactive, and then move the file from inside the 22 folder to the 23 folder, and it will automatically link up with everything else in there and save you having to pay for some big download, which is maybe questionable, but it works for me, and they're all in there. You get the faces in there as well, which is very nice. Now I'll probably just play ahead here to the end of the transfer window. We can check back in, see what we've done, and see how these next few fixtures go. Palace, Bournemouth and Wolves, then Brentford to close it out. So I'll see you shortly. The start to the season has been absolutely excellent up to now, beginning with that 5-2 victory over Southampton. Lascelles with the brace and Isaac with the brace, but the form has continued with a good away victory against Crystal Palace. You can see Alan Saint-Maximin, he scored a beautiful individual goal, ran from the halfway line on the left flank, cut into the box and then slotted it between the keeper's legs to give us a lead. Edouard did get one back for Crystal Palace just after half-time, but it didn't take long for Joe Linton and Isaac to respond and give us the victory we needed. And then against Bournemouth, quite an exciting game this one, because we went 1-0 down, but then Trippier to Lascelles again made it 1-1. Matt Targett then also managed to bundle the ball in over the line in the centre of the goal near the penalty spot, and we took that 2-1 lead into the break before Kiefer Moore got his second in the 54th minute. But Alexander Isaac, who continues to score for us, got 2 goals in the last sort of third of the game to make it 4-2 and give us back-to-back away wins in the Premier League. And then against Everton, Alan Saint-Maximin was the hero. 2 goals in 2 minutes. 64 and 65 minutes made it 2-0. We were struggling to break Everton down, but he once again used his individual brilliance on those long, mazy runs to just get the ball in the back of the net. He's been pretty clinical at the end of those runs, and absolutely did a brilliant job in that game to get us through to the third round. And then against Wolves in our last game, Fabian Schär with a penalty, and then Alexander Isaac managed to respond to Traore's equaliser in the 75th minute to make it 2-1 to us. So it's been a perfect start so far as we start to trundle along at the beginning of the season. And then in the transfer market, we've only made one additional signing who hasn't joined us yet. It's, of course, Youssoufa Moukoko, who has joined us from Borussia Dortmund. He can't actually come to the club until the 1st of January, so this is a long-term investment, but I think he'll be exactly what we need at that point in time. A big chunk of the budget used on bringing him in. He's cost, I think it was 45 million pounds to bring him in, and I think that's a real investment for the future, but one absolutely worth making. Now, up next, we have Brentford, and you'll see we've got Isaac, Saint-Maximin, Almiron, Bruno, Willock, Soumare, Targett, Burn, Lascelles, Trippier, and then Pope in goal. There's been a little bit of rotation going on. You can see the workload here has been sort of ranging between the players, but we've got quite a big squad, so I'm not too worried if 1 or 2 players do pick up a knock. We've got Shelvey, Joe Linton and Wood all with knocks at the moment. But I think we should be good to get a win again away from home this time. Early in the game, Trippier to Almiron, Soumare forward to Willock. Isaac with a shot straight into the arms of Raya. A nice early chance for us. I think we'll have quite a few today, and it's just a matter of whether we can get the goal before Brentford manage to pull one out of nowhere, which I think is likely to happen today. I don't expect us to keep a clean sheet, so a couple of goals will be useful. And Almiron nearly picking out Saint-Maximin there, but the ball was cut out by the Brentford defence. They play it forward though, and Trippier, who up to now, alongside Isaac, has been the player of the season so far for me. And Isaac here steals a ball and makes me eat my own words there. Maybe he's the player of the season. That's his 7th goal already, and I think that's the 3rd goal that he's stolen from a defender, just nicking the ball away from them. It was a poor touch there from Henry, and Isaac, one touch with his right, a shot with his left, and we're 1-0 up. But Trippier has been so crucial. I mean, the reason that the defenders have so many goals is Trippier putting the ball in from dead ball situations. And here's another one. Trippier with the corner. Watch Lascelles at the near post. It's gone to the middle though, and it's just wide there from Dan Burn. Into the second half now, and it's been all us so far. Brentford without a shot on target yet, but you know that is only a matter of time, so a second goal to be appreciated. And the ball through there, what a ball that was. And Isaac dinks a keeper, but didn't have enough on it, and it just hasn't quite carried. But he very, very nearly got a second there. It's a beautiful ball, splitting the defence from Willock, and absolutely brilliantly done. Almiron hit, really struggling. He got a knock earlier, so let's take Almiron off on that right flank and bring on, let's go for something a little bit different here with Ndioeni coming in. And the ball over the top there, Target has it under control. Now Nick Pope out wide to Target. He takes around the left, goes over the top, and Isaac is in again. The keeper's off his line again, and again he can't quite get the dink right. But it's just gone over the penalty, over the crossbar there. And Willock now also with a knock. So that workload that we pointed out at the start just causing a few issues. We'll bring Sean Longstaff on for him, but we should be fine. It's still 1-0. Trippier here with the ball over the top, and Willock is in behind. He's gone for goal, and Rayo there with a very, very good stop. And a corner now from Trippier, although that highlight rather unceremoniously brought to an end as Trippier now attacks down the right flank, pulls it back, Longstaff through to Ndioeni. I mean, that would have been beautiful if he could have got through and got a goal. Lascelles there stealing the ball from Da Silva. Bruno out wide. Good touch there from Ndioeni to keep the ball in play. It's over the top for Sean Longstaff. Into Isaac, and Raya is a very good goalkeeper there, stopping the ball from hitting the back of the net. But this is looking like another 3 points for us. If we get that league table up, you can see we're top of the league, joint with Manchester City. But another really good performance, and I didn't think we'd get the clean sheet there in that game, but we did manage to do it. And we are level at the top with Man City. So we haven't played any of the big teams yet. That comes next with Arsenal. But it's been pretty nice so far to see nothing but green symbols here. If you are interested in using the tactic that I'm using here that started off the season so well, it's available at fmscout.com, so do go and have a look there in their tactics section for FM23. But that is going to be it for today, guys. If you did enjoy content being back on the channel, drop a like down below. Let me know how you're finding Football Manager so far. But until next time, see ya.